deployed. Flight assist off. Flight assist on.
Ship dismissed.
week's major stories. Fazia Silva, one of the three candidates in the Alliance presidential race, has been found dead. There has been speculation that the murder was a political killing, motivated by Silva's proposed changes to Alliance financial policy. Condolences have been delivered by Prime Minister Edmund Mahone and both of them Silva's election rivals, Gibson Kincaid and Elijah Begg. Technology company Herculean Machines dominated the recent Rackham Ultratech Expo, which took place on Wednesday 3rd October. Billionaire Zachary Rackham was delighted with Herculean's DuraDrive, and agreed to authorize preliminary funding for the device. The Torque, a rival product from Supertech, had a less successful showing. In other news, the Federal Security Service has discovered more administration robots fitted with secret surveillance programs. In each case, the robot was a PA912 model, manufactured by the Achilles Corporation. The company has announced that it is cooperating with the FSS investigation. Juanita Bishop has failed to be elected to federal Congress. Many of Bishop's followers have abandoned her in the wake of Gethin Okonkwo's investigation, which found no connection between the Fargod sect and the Thargoids, while Congress members had taken a stand against Mrs. Bishop for cultivating civil unrest. Meanwhile, media organization Broadcast Cobra has announced its intention to build a megaship in the HIP 16038 system. The organization, which specializes in politics and current events, aims to reach a wider audience with the construction of this mobile studio, and has placed an open order for materials to facilitate construction. Finally, Mold Federal Mining Incorporated has confirmed that its appeal for commodities to supply an Oktoberfest celebration in the Bangui system has been enthusiastically received by the galactic community. Hundreds of pilots supported the campaign by delivering commodities to Liavet Port, and by protecting traders in the Bangui system. And those are the main stories this week. Further surveillance robots discovered. The Federal Security Service has discovered more administration robots fitted with secret surveillance programs. Lieutenant Inspector Ramesh Scorn informed the media. Our investigation into Lloyd Hardacre's 9-wheel robot, which secretly recorded evidence of corporate fraud, has broadened significantly. Acting on reports of unusual behavior, we have found 5 further robots containing hidden surveillance programs. In each case, the robot was a PA912 model, manufactured by the Achilles Corporation. The robot's owners are now helping us with our inquiries. 2 of the 5 owners have been identified. Don Chow is the CEO of Piper Mining Incorporated, while Anya Black River runs a public relations consultancy with offices in Olympus Village, San Francisco and Columbus Station. A spokesperson for the Achilles Corporation gave this statement. We are cooperating with the FSS investigation, and would like to reassure the public that our robots are as trustworthy as ever. This illegal surveillance has nothing whatsoever to do with the Achilles Corporation. Over the last decade, the Achilles Corporation has sold over 20 million robots throughout the Federation, including nearly 300,000 PA912 models. Herculean Machines dominates Expo. Technology journalist Harlan Asri has published a full account of the Rackham Ultratech Expo, which took place on Wednesday 3rd October. All eyes were on Herculean Machines and Supertech, whose competing designs for personal computers have created a real buzz. Following lavish presentations from rival CEOs Maddox Hurd and Scorpio Devoro, prototypes of the DuraDrive and Torque were given to attendees. Unfortunately for Supertech, the Torque's holographic systems did not work as planned. Most users were surrounded by an incomprehensible aura of colors and images that, in some cases, brought on nausea. The DuraDrive, by contrast, functioned perfectly. The highlight of the expo came when Zachary Rackham tested a DuraDrive by jumping on it, before using it to contact his
Cargo scoop deployed.
accountant and authorize preliminary funding for the device. He told the crowd, I could have done with one of these back in my spacefaring days. It's clear that the support given to Herculean Machines by the galactic community has allowed them to deliver a superior product, one we can expect to see on the market soon. Presidential candidate murdered.
Cargo scoop retracted.
Fazia Silva, one of the 3 candidates in the Alliance presidential race, has been found dead. She is believed to have been murdered. Inspector Erin Sangster of Alliance Interpol informed the media. Miss Silva's body was found in a room at Hume Orbital, where she was staying during her presidential campaign. Medical teams detected traces of poison, making this a suspected homicide. There has already been speculation that this was a political killing, motivated by Silva's proposed changes to Alliance financial policy. The entrepreneur also had fierce rivals in the business world. Her sister Tash Mira Silva, who has been overseeing the Silva corporate empire, stated, "Our family is devastated. We can't believe that Fazia has been taken from us. I will honor her by continuing to run the companies that she made." It's so successful. Condolences have been delivered by Prime Minister Emmerich Mahone, and both of Miss Silva's election rivals, Gibson Kincaid and Elijah Begg. President Kincaid said, "This tragedy constitutes a direct attack on our democracy. The Alliance's enemies will do anything they can to destabilize us, including murder. If we are to fight back, we will need strong leadership." Oktoberfest supply campaign successful. Mold Federal Mining Incorporated has confirmed that its appeal for commodities to supply an Oktoberfest celebration in the Bagui system has been enthusiastically received by the galactic community. Hundreds of pilots supported the campaign by delivering commodities to Liavit Port, and by protecting traders in the Bagui system. A spokesperson for Mold Federal Mining Incorporated issued the following statement. "Thanks to so many generous pilots, Bagui Oktoberfest will now go ahead. Revelers will be able to put aside their differences, forget their troubles and celebrate life. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Liavit Port, in the Bagui system." Broadcast Cobra Initiative. Media organization Broadcast Cobra has announced its intention to build a megaship in the HIP 16038 system. The organization, which specializes in politics and current events, aims to reach a much wider audience with the construction of this mobile studio. Alessandra Coe of Broadcast Cobra issued the following statement. "As a broadcaster, we like the idea of a ship that can carry our signal to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. A megaship will allow us to transmit to systems that other broadcasters can only dream of reaching. To facilitate construction of the megaship, Broadcast Cobra has placed an open order for thorium, indium and superconductors, and has promised to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to Sarmrook Dock, in the HIP 16038 system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those contributing material can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 4th of October 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately." Bishop's congressional bid collapses. The Bishop, whose protest movement against the Far God cult gained broad support, has failed to be elected to federal Congress. Independent political analyst Vaughn Niven published this summary. Many of Juanita Bishop's followers have abandoned her in the wake of Gethin Okonkwo's investigation, which found no connection between the Far God sect and the Thargoids. As a result, Mrs. Bishop's congressional campaign has collapsed. There has also been a sea change in attitude within Congress itself. The majority of members have now taken a stand against Mrs. Bishop for cultivating civil unrest and violating the Federation's principles of religious freedom. Juanita Bishop gave a forceful statement to the media. "If Congress
Cargo scoop retracted.
can't see that these people are dangerous, then they're fools. These Thargoid spies need to be rounded up and executed before they murder us all. History will prove me right." Week in review. Here are this week's major stories. The three candidates for the Alliance presidency have spent much of the past week delivering their campaign messages. While incumbent President Gibson Kincaid has demanded radical change to the Constitution, rival candidates Fazia Silva and Elijah Begg have adopted more conservative stances, focusing on economic growth and civil liberty respectively. The new president of the Alliance will be announced in October. The Federal Intelligence Agency has terminated its investigation into the Far God cult. In a statement, the FIA confirmed that information provided by undercover reporter Gethin Okonkwo had cleared the sect of any suspicion. All worshippers who were detained have now been released. In other news, rival companies Herculean Machines and Supertech have resumed development of their new personal computers, following successful requests for public support. Both companies have now returned their attention to the Rackham Ultratech Expo, where they will unveil prototypes of their new designs. It is suspected that the amount of commodities each company received might be the deciding factor in their commercial success. Meanwhile, the personal administration robot of business magnate Lloyd Hardacre, which recently revealed evidence of his criminal activity, has been found to contain a concealed surveillance program. The revelation came from the Federal Security Service, which found a surveillance program within the robot's coreware that was covertly copying certain types of data. The FSS now believes that Mr. Hardacre was the target of an undercover spy operation. Finally, citizens of the Bagui system are attempting to resurrect the ancient Oktoberfest celebration, an annual event based on a centuries-old Earth tradition. Mold Federal Mining Incorporated has agreed to finance the event, and is placing an open order for various commodities. A spokesperson for the organization promised the festival would be a party like no other. And those are the main stories this week. Far God cult investigation ends. The Federal Intelligence Agency has terminated its investigation into the Far God cult. Senior Agent Michael Whitefield informed the media. The information provided by Gethin Okonkwo on the inner workings of the Far God sect has been verified as genuine. In the absence of any evidence regarding communication with the Thargoids, our investigation is concluded. All worshippers who were detained have now been released. We are indebted to Mr. Okonkwo for his highly detailed report. We had hoped to gain similar insights via our own undercover agent, who infiltrated the sect, but we are still awaiting his report. The exo-theologian Dr. Alfred Ulyanov, who was arrested due to his research into the religion, commented, "I offer the highest praise to Gethin Okonkwo, whose dedication has confirmed the innocuous nature of the Far God faith. Sadly, this experience illustrates that intolerance and fear of the other remain deeply embedded in human nature, no matter how advanced our species becomes." Robot surveillance program discovered. The personal administration robot of business magnate Lloyd Hardacre, which recently revealed evidence of his criminal activity, has been found to contain a concealed surveillance program. Lieutenant Inspector Ramesh Thorne, of the Federal Security Service, made a statement to the media. FSS technicians discovered a highly sophisticated surveillance program within the robot's coreware that was covertly copying certain types of data, namely anything illegal. A minor malfunction caused the robot to incorporate the data into a company presentation. Our working theory is that Mr. Hardacre was the target of an undercover spy operation, but not one coordinated.
retracted. scoop deployed. Cargo scoop retracted. Cargo scoop deployed. scoop deployed. Cargo scoop retracted. Cargo scoop deployed. Cargo scoop retracted. Hold.
drive charging. Ready to engage. 4, 3, 2. Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Makeshift drive charging. Four, three, two. scoop deployed. Cargo scoop retracted.
by any legal authority. Clearly, someone harbored suspicions about Hardacre and was looking for proof. We are conducting interviews with his business associates and competitors. When asked about the robot, Lieutenant Inspector Thorne added, "The robot is manufactured by the Achilles Corporation, and is a relatively primitive machine, designed to coordinate information and perform administrative tasks. Such robots are incapable of independent behavior, so this one must have been subjected to comprehensive reprogramming." Computer companies resume development. Rival companies Herculean Machines and Supertech have resumed development of their new personal computers. Harlow Nasri, technology journalist at the Federal Times, has been following events. After the mysterious fire that destroyed Supertech's factory and the equally mysterious scandal that scared off Herculean Machines' investors, it seemed like neither company would complete its new designs. But successful requests for public support have turned that around. Maddox Hurd and Scorpio Devoro, the heads of Herculean and Supertech respectively, both received enough materials to produce functional prototypes for the Rackham Ultratech Expo on Wednesday the 3rd of October. This expo is crucial for both companies. Rackham Capital Investments and other corporate sponsors will be paying close attention, and Zachary Rackham himself will be present, eager to get his hands on the latest gadgets. Both the customizable Duradrive and the wearable Torque have captured the public imagination, but the prototype's performance is key. The amount of commodities each company received might be the deciding factor in their commercial success. Oktoberfest in Bagwe. Citizens of the Bagwe system are attempting to resurrect the ancient Oktoberfest celebration, an annual event based on a centuries-old Earth tradition. The scale of the event is unprecedented, and local suppliers are reeling due to the weight of demand. Consequently, Mold Federal Mining Incorporated has volunteered to finance an emergency initiative that will supply the required resources. A spokesperson for the company issued the following statement. "This will be a party like no other, where people can come together to celebrate life, love and beer. We are honored to play our part in supporting a festival such as this. Nothing is more important to us than helping our communities." Mold Federal Mining Incorporated has placed an open order for animal meat, fish, and beer, promising to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to Leavitt Port, in the Bagwe system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those contributing to the initiative can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 27th of September 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Commodities appeal concludes. The competing campaigns from technology companies Supertech and Herculean Machines have come to an end. Huge quantities of technological components were contributed to the initiatives, which will be used to support the manufacture of new personal computers. As the Supertech campaign drew to an end, company CEO Scorpio Devoro issued the following statement. "I can't thank the galactic community enough for its support. We believe the Torque is something really special, and due to the support we've had we can begin manufacture at once." His business rival Maddox Hurd, CEO of Herculean Machines, had this to say. "We've received an awe-inspiring response, proving that pilots everywhere want technology that can stand the test of time. Pilots who contributed commodities to Supertech can collect their awards from Roberts Port, in the FedMix system, while pilots who contributed commodities to Herculean Machines can collect their awards from Cowper Dock, in the Anima system." Presidential candidates on the campaign trail. The 3 candidates for the Alliance presidency have spent much of the past week delivering their campaign messages. Incumbent President Gibson Kincaid, who seeks re-election, has demanded radical change to the Constitution. To occupy the same league as the other superpowers, we need a single ruler with overall control. I ask that you empower me to lead the Alliance into a new era of strength and unity. That is my vision. An increase in commerce is the focus for entrepreneur Fazia Silva. The current president is driven entirely by ego, as are all career politicians, but it's money that makes the galaxy go round. Only by investing in trade and industry can the Alliance truly grow. Councillor Elijah Beck has been critical of his rival's approach. President Kincaid has little respect for our values, and Miss Silva wants to make it easier for her companies to increase profits. The Alliance deserves a president who puts the well-being of its people first, rather than their own selfish goals. The new president of the Alliance will be announced in October. Starport Status Update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed. Besta Terminal, Gemnik. Black Station, Laosang. Burton Vision, Democorner. Couchy Dock, Degt. Klink Dock, Inmino. Mooches Platform, Deacons Star. Pook Dock, HIP 35873. Rennie Hub, Kupol Boomba. Seminas Hub, Newark. St. Clair Colony, Sankangu. Smith Landing, Amber. Somerset Station, Icarone. Winkfist Terminal, NLTT 57216. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure. Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. Political journalist Vanya Driscoll has published an analysis of the Alliance presidential candidates. She has observed that while Elijah Beck seems content with the status quo, Fazio Silva has promised to boost the economy, and current President Gibson Kincaid has proposed that the role should include executive powers. In other news, business magnate Lloyd Hardacre has been arrested for corporate fraud after his personal administrative robot revealed incriminating evidence. The incident took place during the annual general meeting of Copernicus Shipping Limited, a firm founded by Mr. Hardacre. Lieutenant Inspector Ramesh Thorne of the Federal Security Service is investigating. Independent reporter Gethin Okonkwo has revealed that he has been living undercover in the Far God cult for 3 months. According to his account, the cult has no contact with the Thargoids, with most of its followers being harmless fatalists. Mr. Okonkwo recorded his experience using concealed micro-cameras, and has shared his data with the Federal Intelligence Agency, hoping to prove that the sect is not dangerous. Meanwhile, 2 rival technology companies, Supertech and Herculean Machines, have appealed for commodities to support the release of forthcoming products. Supertech is developing a personal computing device called the Talk, while Herculean Machines is working on a machine called the Duradrive. Both companies are hoping that the support of the galactic community will allow them to share working prototypes at a technology expo on the 3rd of October. Finally, the Libertas Cooperative has announced that its appeal for commodities has reached a successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the galactic community. Land enrichment systems, animal monitors, aquaponics systems, and marine equipment were delivered to Okrinoxis orbiter over the past week, allowing construction of a megaship where manatees will be farmed. And those are the main stories this week. Inside the Far God cult. Independent reporter, Gethin Okonkwo, who was previously thought missing, has revealed that he has been living undercover within the Far God cult for the past 3 months. In an op-ed piece, Mr. Okonkwo shared his experiences. I was fascinated by Dr. Ralyanov's research, and I desperately wanted to understand this doomsayer cult further, so I decided to covertly study the Far God sect by posing as an adherent. During this time, I visited hive chapels in several different systems, narrowly escaping death when one was attacked by the Church of Eternal Void. On many occasions, I was physically and verbally abused by members of the public, including Juanita Bishop's campaign followers. At no point did I see evidence of actual contact with the Thargoids, bar the occasional use of alien material as holy artifacts. Most worshippers are essentially fatalists, attracted to the idea of an apocalypse. Some are convinced that they alone will survive the Far God's manifestation. It is a strange and often contradictory faith, but no less so than other religions. I recorded my experiences within the sect using concealed micro-cameras. I am voluntarily sharing this data with the Federal Intelligence Agency to prove that the Far God sect is not dangerous, and with the hope of ending its persecution. The presidential power struggle. With the Alliance presidential race gathering speed, political journalist Vanya Driscoll has published an analysis in the Alliance Tribune. The election of a new president is usually a ceremonial matter, during which voters select a public face for the Alliance, but this year is a genuine power struggle, one that may have major consequences. Elijah Beck is the only candidate who seems content with the status quo. By contrast, entrepreneur Fazia Silva promises to boost the economy and increase commerce. Her new financial policies have been welcomed by interstellar corporations and small businesses alike. President Gibson Kincaid is causing the most controversy, however. His proposal that the role of president should include executive powers is being taken seriously by the Assembly. Kincaid claims that having a single controlling voice will enable the alliance to challenge our rivals' dominance. There is a surprising amount of support for this combative rhetoric. Many agree that the alliance could be stronger, and that Prime Minister Mahone is often hamstrung by bureaucracy. Rumors suggest that the Empire and Federation are watching this election far more closely than usual. Manatee Megaship Initiative concludes. The Libertas Cooperative has announced that its appeal for commodities has reached a successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the galactic community. Land enrichment systems, animal monitors, aquaponics systems and marine equipment were delivered to Okrinox's orbiter over the past week, allowing construction of a megaship where manatees will be farmed. With the initiative at an end, Pro-Janitor Selina Conley of the Libertas Cooperative issued the following statement. The people of Moonshin, and our partners at Moonshin Manatee Meat, extend the warmest of thanks to all pilots who supported our project. Increased production of manatee meat will give a much-needed boost to the Moonshin system's economy. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their awards from Okrinox's orbiter in the Moonshin system. Appeal for computing commodities. Two rival technology companies, Supertech and Herculean Machines, have appealed for commodities to support the release of forthcoming products. Scorpio Devorro, CEO of Supertech, issued the following statement. The talk is the latest in personal computing, featuring state-of-the-art holographic technology. Anyone who wants to benefit from the next generation in wearable hardware should support its development. Meanwhile, Maddox Hurd, head of Herculean Machines, had this to say. The Jura drive cannot be rivaled for power or customizability. What people need in this challenging age is a robust product, not some ephemeral toy that malfunctions when exposed to a stiff breeze. To bring their products to market, both companies have placed open orders for commodities. Supertech requires conductive fabrics, robotics and microcontrollers, while Herculean Machines has asked for consumer technology, hardware diagnostic sensors and computer components. Pilots wishing to support Supertech should deliver commodities to Roberts Port in the FedMix system, while pilots wishing to support Herculean Machines should deliver commodities to Cowper Dock in the Anima system. The campaigns begin on the 20th of September 3304 and will run for 1 week. If either party achieves its aims earlier than planned, both campaigns will end immediately. Robot exposes corporate fraud. Business magnate, Lloyd Hardacre, has been arrested for corporate fraud, after his personal administrative robot revealed incriminating evidence. The incident occurred at Burnell Station during the annual general meeting of Copernicus Shipping Limited, an interplanetary haulage firm founded by Mr. Hardacre. One witness, a company shareholder, told reporters. Halfway through Hardacre's financial presentation, we saw off-the-books logs that were very obviously illegal. Hardacre ordered the robot to stop, but it continued projecting data from its internal drives. Eventually he ran from the hall in panic. Lieutenant Inspector Ramesh Thorne, of the Federal Security Service, made this statement. We have placed Mr. Hardacre in custody while we verify multiple instances of fraud and misuse of company funds. We are also investigating how his personal admin robot managed to obtain such information, and why it chose to make the data public at this time. Historical sculptures stolen. A collection of historically significant artworks has been stolen from the Imperial Museum of Culture on Eotienses, A3. A local media report stated. The museum's most popular exhibit is the New Dawn collection, a sequence of sculptures by legendary artist Lal Kandromir. These figures date back nearly 1,000 years and commemorate the early settlers of Eotienses agreeing to join the empire. This morning, visitors found the entire exhibit empty, with every single one of the Kandromir statues gone. Painted onto the wall was a graphic of a winking cat. The museum cannot explain how its security systems were so completely circumvented. Captain Madaki Vander, of the Imperial Internal Security Service, commented. We are performing forensic analysis and interviewing all staff and visitors. As yet, we cannot confirm any connection between this theft and one that occurred 3 months ago in the Alioth system, despite the identical winking cat motif. We will make every effort to capture this criminal and recover these precious cultural artifacts. Starport Status Update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed: Alexandria Dock, Shinab. Rondalm Bear Lab, HIP 88595. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure: Black Station, Laosang. Pook Dock, HIP 35873. Somerset Station, Icarone. Besta Terminal, Gennik. Burton Vision, Demo Corner. Couchy Dock, Dekt. Clink Dock, Inmino. Seminas Hub, Newark.
Frameshift drive charging.
St. Clair Colony, Sankangu. Asimov Landing, LHS 2441. Mooches Platform, Deacon Star.
4, 3, 2.
Smith Landing, Amber. Descartes Terminal, Nugwang. Rennie Hub, Kupol Boomba. Winkfist Terminal, NRTT 57216. Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. An anonymous source has revealed that Maddox Hurd, owner of technology company Herculean Machines, was previously investigated by the Federal Security Service. The source disclosed that Hurd accepted financial contributions from individuals connected to criminal networks when establishing his company. In the wake
Scooping complete.
of the news, a number of Herculean Machines corporate investors have withdrawn their support. The candidates in the Alliance presidential election have been announced: Fazia Silva, a successful entrepreneur from the VAM system, and Elijah Beck, an experienced politician from Leasty. It is understood that all three candidates, Kincaid, Silva and Beck, are roughly equal in terms of popular support. Meanwhile, Juanita Bishop has called on federal Congress to make Thargoid worship a capital crime, and for all members of the Thargoid cult to be
Frameshift drive charging.
executed. Some federal congressmen have aligned with Mrs. Bishop, eager to be seen as tough on Thargoids, but others have criticized her for her inhumane rhetoric. In other news, Ramtar has revealed more about the
4, 3, 2.
XG project, which produced the recently released XG fighters. In an interview, the engineer revealed that he had been trying to combine human and Guardian technology since the first Guardian ruins were discovered. He closed the interview by expressing hope that the XG project was the start of a new era of technological development. The
Fuel scooping.
Test Cooperative has announced plans to construct a manatee farm on behalf of food supplier München Manatee Meat. This will take the form of a megaship, where the creatures will be bred, processed and prepared for distribution. To facilitate construction of the manatee farm, the Libertas Cooperative has placed an open order for various commodities. Finally, the Alioth Independents have announced that their appeal for exotic food and drink has reached a successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the galactic community.
Scooping complete.
Huge quantities of Esuseku caviar, ceremonial Heike tea, and live Hecate sea worms were delivered to Smith Landing over the past week, which will now be used to host a special gala event. And those are the main stories this week. Candidates for Alliance presidency announced. The candidates in the Alliance presidential election have been announced. Political journalist Vanya Driscoll shared the news in the Alliance Tribune. The candidates running against President Gibson Kincaid, who is seeking a second term, have now launched their campaigns. Fazia Silva is a successful entrepreneur from the VAM system. Although lacking political experience, she intends to leverage her business acumen to increase trade and boost economies throughout the Alliance. She has delegated control of her corporate empire to her sister, freeing her to run for office. Elijah Beck, by contrast, is a highly experienced politician. Hailing from the Leasty system, he has served in the Assembly for over 4 decades. He is generally considered a safe pair of hands, but it's unlikely that he would bring about any significant changes as president. Recent polls suggest that Kincaid, Silver and Beck are roughly equal in terms of popular support, but it's still early days. All three will vigorously campaign for support in the coming weeks, in advance of the public vote on Tuesday the 16th of October. Investors abandon Herculean machines. An anonymous source has revealed that Maddox Hurd, owner of technology company Herculean Machines, was previously investigated by the Federal Security Service. The source shared recently declassified FSS records on the Rewired News channel, and stated, "When establishing Herculean 5 years ago, Maddox Hurd accepted financial contributions from individuals connected to organized crime networks, such as the Red Family. While Hurd did not technically break the law, the FSS has kept a close eye on him ever since." In the wake of this news, a number of Herculean Machines corporate investors withdrew their support. Maddox Hurd told the media, "This is a smear campaign, and those underhanded snakes at Supertech are behind it." Scorpio Devorro, CEO of rival company Supertech, declined to comment, but Harlow Nasri, technology journalist at the Federal Times, observed, "With Herculean Machines losing investment and Supertech's facility destroyed, both companies are in a compromised position. Unless they can drum up additional support, neither will be able to unveil their new designs at the Rackham Ultratech Expo in October." Alliance Gala initiative concludes. The Alley of Independence has announced that its appeal for exotic food and drink has reached a successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the galactic community. Huge quantities of Esuseku caviar, ceremonial Hikiti and live Hecate sea worms were delivered to Smith Landing over the past week, which will now be used to host their gala event. With the initiative at an end, Jurian Ballas, chairman of the Alley of Independence, issued the following statement. "This will be an event like no other, and we are proud to be introducing Fazia Silva and Elijah Beck to the galactic stage. Along with Gibson Kincaid, I'm sure they will soon do battle in a good-natured yet robust election campaign." Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their awards from Smith Landing, in the Amber system. Manatee Megaship Initiative. The Libertas Cooperative has announced plans to construct a manatee farm on behalf of food supplier München Manatee Meat. This will take the form of a megaship, where the creatures will be bred, processed and prepared for distribution. Progenitor Selena Conley of the Libertas Cooperative issued the following statement. "For years, the people of München have been lucky enough to dine on the finest meat in the galaxy. We are proud to be working in association with München Manatee Meat to help bring their product to a much wider consumer base. To facilitate construction of the Manatee Farm, the Libertas Cooperative has placed an open order for land enrichment systems, animal monitors, aquaponic systems and marine equipment. It promises to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to Ochranoxis Orbiter, in the München system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those contributing material can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 13th of September 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Calls to execute Fargod worshippers. Juanita Bishop has called on federal Congress to make Thargoid worship a capital crime, and for all members of the Fargod cult to be executed. Addressing a rally during her congressional campaign, Mrs. Bishop stated, "I speak for all those who live in fear of Thargoid infiltration. If elected, I will make sure this foul cult is outlawed and all its followers put to death. Congress has a duty to protect families from these alien-loving collaborators." Vihan Neven, an independent political analyst, commented, "Juanita Bishop's statement has triggered considerable debate in Congress. Some congressmen have aligned with her, eager to be seen as tough on Thargoids. But others have criticized Mrs. Bishop for her inhumane rhetoric and for proposing the execution of federal citizens without trial." Meanwhile, the Federal Intelligence
Shift drive charging.
Agency continues to arrest adherents of the Fargod sect and detain those who have had contact with them. As casualties from the Thargoid conflict mount, it's hard to see this most unlikely of faiths surviving much longer. project. In an interview with independent media outlet Vox Galactica, engineer Antar has discussed the XG project, which produced the recently released XG fighters. Ever since the first Guardian ruins were discovered, I've been trying to combine their technology with our own.
Fuel scooping.
I drew up a blueprint for the original fighter, the XG-1, before inviting other technicians to refine the design with a view to producing something commercially viable. The seventh iteration,
Fuel scooping complete.
the XG-7, successfully merged human and Guardian ingenuity. The XG-8 Javelin and XG-9 Lance soon followed. When asked what the future holds, Rantar remarked, "My hope is that the XG project is merely the start of a whole new era of technological development. While the current focus is the Thargoid threat, the achievements of our galactic forebears might one day improve every aspect of society."